welcome back to Modern Indian History lecture series. And we have already seen in the previous lectures rise of autonomous states of Hyderabad and Karnataka in the first part, and also rise of Bengal in the second part. And now this is the third part of rise of autonomous states in India. And here we will continue our discussion with the state of Awadh. So we will see how Awadh emerged as an autonomous state during the decline of Mughal Empire. So it is this region we are going to talk about. This is the Awadh region, and it belongs to present day Uttar Pradesh. And the state of Awadh, or Awadh province, was located on the Indo-Gangetic plain, and it received its name from Ayodhya, which was the capital of ancient kingdom of Koshala kingdom. Okay, so it was taken by Muslim invaders in the 12th century, and it later became the part of Mughal Empire in the 16th century. And since then, it was under the control of the Mughal Empire. So now let us find out the major administrative reforms given by or brought by the Sadat Khan during his rule. So first of all, what he did is that he levied equitable land revenue. So this improved the state of peasants. Another thing was that there was no any religious discrimination, as we have seen in Bengal. These Sadat Khan, he also did not show any discrimination between the Hindus and Muslims. Many of his top officials in the court was Hindus, and also in army also he had Hindu chiefs. Okay, and he suppressed the Semindars to fall in line with the law irrespective of their religion. So whatever be the religion of the Zemindars, they were supposed to obey the law. And he maintained a decent level of army with good payments to him. So during his period, these army, they were his troops, they were well paid, well trained, and well equipped. So before his death in 1739 itself, Awadh became virtually independent, and he made the province a hereditary possession. So Sadat Khan was succeeded by his nephew and son-in-law Safdar Jung. Safdar Jung ruled from 1739 to 1754 as the governor of Awadh, and later he was made as the wazir by the Mughal Empire Ahmad Shah. So from this time onwards, Safdar Jung was known as the Wazir Nawab or Nawab Wazir. So at the same time, he served as a Nawab of Awadh and also as the Wazir of the Mughal Empire. So apart from this, what some other problems that occurred is that he had to wage or he had to carry out war against the Rohillas and also against Afghans during this period. And in April 72, Safdar Jung, he entered into an agreement, or he made an alliance with the Marathas against Ahmad Shah Abdali. So in return, what Marathas did is that they were to pay 50 lakhs, and they granted the Chowth of Punjab and Sindh and also Doab, in addition to the Subedari of Ajmer and Agra. So this agreement was a failure because this Peshwa, he went over Safdar Jung's enemies at Delhi. So what he did is that he organized a very equitable system of justice, and he adopted policy of impartiality in the employment and also in administration and all. He did not show any partiality among Hindus and Muslims. So after Safdar Jung, he died in 1754, and after his death, his son Shuja Uddawla, he became the Subedar or the Nawab of Awadh. So it was in 1754 Shuja Uddawla became the Subedar or Nawab of Awadh, and he ruled from 1754 to 1775. Shuja Uddawla, he played a very important role in changing the political drama at Delhi. In 1762, he became the Wazir of Empire Shah Alam II. So Shah Alam II was the ruler at that time in the Mughal Empire, And if you doesn't know the later Mughals who ruled after whom, and what was the ruin or ruling period, time period of each Mughal empires, please go back and understand that. So then only you will get a connection with what I'm saying. Okay, so please go and watch previous videos on later Mughals, so you will get a better understanding regarding the Mughal emperors. So in 1762, Shuja-ud-Dawla, he became the Wazir of Empire Shah Alam II, and after that he entered into alliance with the Nawab of Bengal Mir Qasim, as well as Emperor Shah Alam II, against the English East India Company. This we have seen in the previous video. The Nawab of Bengal Mir Qasim, when he became the Nawab of Bengal, he made a tripartite alliance with Shah Alam II and also the Shuja Uddawla against the English East India Company. So this we have seen. And after that he suffered a crushing defeat in Battle of Buxar. So during this period they made an alliance with these three people: Nawab of Bengal, Mir Qasim, Shuja Uddawla, Nawab of Awadh, and also the Mughal Empire Shah Alam II. All these people they fight against the English East India Company at Battle of Buxar. So it was in 1764 this battle took place. So this we have discussed in the previous video. Also we have seen when we have discussed the rise of Bengal, and about Mir Qasim when we have discussed, we have seen this. Okay, so he suffered a crushing defeat at Battle of Buxar, and Treaty of Allahabad was signed in 1765. And in this treaty all the territories with the exception of Kora and Allahabad were restored to him, and this treaty made the Nawab of Awadh an in a dependent subordinate ally of the English East India Company. So according to this treaty of Allahabad, treaty of Nawab of Awadh was a dependent subordinate ally of English East India Company. So after him, Asaf Uddawla was the Nawab of Awadh, and he was popular for promoting Lucknow culture, and he built important monuments like Imambara and Rumi Darwaza, and he signed Treaty of Faizabad with the British East India Company in 1755 AD. And after him, Wajid Ali Shah, he became the governor of Awadh, and he was the last ruler of Awadh and popularly known as Jani Alam and Akhtar Pia. Okay, and he was annexed by British Lord Dalhousie on the basis of misgovernance. He was very fond of classical musics, then dance forms with performers like Kalkabinder brothers in his court. And Lord Dalhousie annexed Awadh in 1856, and Wazid Ali Shah was pensioned to Kolkata. And during these rules of Nawabs in Awadh, they could spread peace and economic prosperity across Awadh. And this Awadh was well known for its fertile soil, that we know it was located towards the North Indian plains, and because of which Awadh was a center of attraction for their fertile land, and this brought the Britishers to exploit its fertility for their own aspirations. And that is all about the brief history of Awadh, and we will continue our discussion with rise of Mysore in the coming video. So we will continue till then. Thank you. Thanks for watching.